Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and we have today Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to come on. I'm in my office on campus now.
Oh my God, I can see that. What's behind you? And Jim Eat from Eat Foundation. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Sasha. I have this screen behind me because my office is even messier than Ken's.
Okay. What's happened lately in chess? So we have new world champion. We have this tournament just ended where both the champion and his challenger performed some mediocre level.
Being kind.
Yeah, in kind. Maybe for some.
In fact, their IPRs were a little higher than for the classical games in the World Championship match. So it was not that strong a downflow. But yeah, they both had minus scores, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what else we can think? It's just a score. Ken, what's interesting happening and what are you looking forward to?
Well, there's the Women's Grand Prix in Nicosia.
Yeah, Shuvalova is 2 out of 2.
Yeah, that's right. And I finally have time to really do further work on the hypothesis that what's generally appreciated as a rating deflation coming out of the pandemic is affecting women particularly much. The high women, not the young teenagers. I've already adjusted their ratings, but the established players.
I see.
And it's easy. They're a smaller group to study. There's less variance, so it makes a scientifically better task to see if I can rigorously establish that they are 50 to 100 points underrated. And the cause that I conjecture is very simple. I've had a lot of success pinpointing the fact that junior players are 500 ELO and more underrated. And that's still the case in some cases, although the ratings have mostly bounced back. But if you played in-person chess in 2021 or 2022, when some tournaments started coming back, and sat down against a junior underrated by 500 ELO, it means that you lost 5 rating points, whether the outcome of the game was win, lose, or draw. Do that 10 times, and there's your 50 points underrated. So the FIDE has been running by me and by other people, and I've heard them too, various possible ways of trying to equalize this gap. But
500 is brutal.
But Ken, why would this be affecting the women, the higher rated women, more than others?
Well, it's a question of variance. They're a more homogeneous set of people to study. A larger set, you're going to get more people who barnstorm and Swisses, who either play in foreign countries, something like that. And also, it just seems to me to be more pronounced with them. It's like let's put it this way, I think there are a few junior women players, but I think that maybe the women have participated less in tournaments frequented by a lot of junior players, where there are other things that could cover up the discrepancies I see. And the women I'm concerned with mostly are the select set playing in the Women's Grand Prix events.
Yes, so it might be the types of tournaments that they're participating in are overrepresented by these people that had their ratings suppressed by the pandemic.
Correct. So there are 5 Women's Grand Prix events now, and so since 2021. And that's a reasonable size controlled set for me to study.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Ken, what would be your comment to suggestions that women's chess generally there is much more aggressive play?
I'm going to
3 times less draws than in men's tournament. What's your explanation of that?
Well, that's right. Well, I haven't done that test yet, but yes, the other reason I'm keen is really to try to test the effectiveness of my criticality weighted measure of chess positions. In Superbet, there were some indications. So one thing is, Caruana evidently made his games very easy for him to play, because the measure of hazard that I get was the equivalent of 40 fewer moves than he played.
Is that the better selection of opening lines?
Could be, it could be the opening lines of something to do with that, but it's basically, yeah. However, I had thought that Rapport and Feruzja would score high. The field overall scores a little above average on difficulty, but I haven't yet pinpointed who were the enterprising players that brought this about, or the players who made life difficult for themselves. And part of the problem is that my model's nonlinear, so it's easy. You can't reason by averages sometimes.
What do you think in women's chess, the apparently large number of decisive games is that they are less skillful in defense than men?
Well, that's a good question. So I should also get a lot of category 9-10 tournaments by men, round robins, and compare. That would be a controlled comparison. I have not done that yet.
Yeah.
Well, you could say that in the club play, there are more decisive results as well. Because the stronger you get, the more likely that you're going to produce a draw, as some of our World Chess Championship have demonstrated. Defenses, especially in this day and age with computer engines helping you, draws tend to be the most likely outcome at the highest ranks. But what I was impressed with the Superbet tournament was I looked at the cross table, and man, there are so many really good players that are in their peak. They're not just up and coming. Like Caruana won the U.S. Championship. He's a former contender for the World Chess Championship. And he won by half a point over Wesley So, another U.S.-based player that's very strong. And then the two following players are young. Giri is also, I've really been following his career lately. I've been very impressed, not only with his play, but with his personality. And the two World Championship contenders, they finish at the bottom of the cross table, but you can understand that after the preparation for the World Chess Championship match, they must have been exhausted. So they probably didn't put their best foot forward.
It's too close.
I think so. I think so too, Sasha. But I do think that the players that finished at the top half of this field, it's exciting to me how many good, strong players there are.
Yeah, we did see Caruana mess up that rook ending we were following a week ago. Just as we got off the
proving he's human, he's not an engine.
Yeah.
But that was a fascinating game.
I have a question I'd like to ask. Do you think the Grand Prix format encourages more of a fight for absolute first, as opposed to getting a good score?
I think it's a great question, and I do think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I do think people are having to, because of the nature of the Grand Prix, they have to finish at or near the top to keep going, to be a factor for it's sort of like the FedEx Cup in golf. People are, they need to have a good year to finish in the money at the end of the year. So they're rewarded later by consistent good results.
But I have one problem with the concept is that in order to be in the first 6, I think that's what's important, or maybe first 8. I forgot the number.
I've forgotten too.
Yeah, Ken, what do you think? Is it first 6?
I'm not sure. I haven't read the rules of the.
Okay, let's assume it's either 6 or 8.
Yep.
I would think it's 6 probably. The difference between the first prize and the 6th prize is not that great. Yes, there's more money for first prize, but the consequences of being 7th versus 6th are grave. So what is the best strategy here would be to avoid any risky continuations, play very, very solid, very dependable opening, and if it's a draw, that's fine, the life goes on, so you play next game. but to avoid possibility of losses at any point. And that's exactly why Magnus Carlsen was very critical about this World Championship, is saying that when he was playing the Karyakin, and especially Caruana, both of them were electing very, very low risk lines, where it's extremely difficult for either side to even to try to play for a win. And in match with Caruana, that's exactly what's happened. There are very, very few positions that actually could be considered worth trying to play for a win. Now, in Niepo and Lejeune, it's a different story. It seems to me that both of them were overrating their capabilities. They were not too scared about their opponents. And that's why there are so many resulting games. Now, it doesn't mean that the quality of the games was very high. Okay, it was neither high nor low. Okay, it was the games. Missed a lot of mistakes. But the explanation of Carlsen is that they didn't care about so much about the result, and they were just playing, and they were playing much riskier kind of chess than Caruana and Karyakin were playing against Carlsen. So even if the same players like Nepa and Ding would ever play against Carlsen, I doubt a lot that they would play risky lines or so. They would play ultra solid line if they can, because Nepa, I'm not sure that he can play this ultra solid lines. And his match with Carlsen just proved that. He was playing.
His match with Carlsen showed another part of this, is that the tension at that level is when he ran into trouble, when he got behind, he kind of collapsed, and certain players can suffer a loss and fight back, which we saw in the latest match. Both of them did that, and Ding especially was able to win right after losing, and that's so admirable. But then against Carlsen, maybe it's part of like Carlsen is just so fearsome an opponent that once you lose, you kind of think it's over.
So maybe that's a failure of Nepa playing solid style of chess, and this is why he will never become a world champion. That's why he collapsed in his match against Carlsen, and that's why he failed to win match against Ding. Everyone suggesting what I've heard is that Nepa is a much more talented player than Ding. I don't think that I agree with that, but probably it is so. But then his character failed. It's failure for him to win game after game and not be able to hold on to his lead.
Well, you can speak to this more intelligently than I, but isn't there a lot of pressure on a guy like Nepo to represent Russia? And so that any loss is far, the consequences of a loss are, everybody hates losing, but there's more repercussions for him losing than others.
Yeah, either that feeling is splintered or it has magnified. So
yeah, I just think that there's a lot of pressure on him that wouldn't be on a different player from a different country.
Mm-hmm.
But between you and me, it's a self-inflicting pressure.
That's true.
Nepa is doing financially extremely well. He was paid good money with Carlsen's match. He's winning tournaments online, offline, getting prizes here and there. Say 50,000, 30,000, 25,000, or so on and on and on.
But we know the history of the Russian players that failed against Fischer, as you've documented for us in the past, Sasha. And I do believe. Do you think that is no longer the case?
No, that's no longer the case, because people in Russia, they don't care about chess. Period. Chess, when it was the epicenter of chess life on the planet, right? Soviet Union. Today is definitely not the case. A lot of people don't care about. They don't know who's the world champion. Neither do they care who's the world champion.
That's news to me.
No. The chess culture of Russia is done. Period.
Wow. Yeah. It's what?
Done. The chess culture in Russia is done. It's a thing of the past. Glorious past, I must say, starts from Petrov, Chigorin, Alokhin, and so on and on and on and on. Now it's all gone. The NEPA, very few people even don't know who he is. And they don't care actually who he is. And this Russian Chess Federation, it's more instrument of money laundering than anything else. They provide these wealthy sponsors who throw money into Russian Chess Federation and so on. And then
Allegedly.
it trickles down through the system, and that's all there is to it.
But countries like Uzbekistan are on the rise.
Because there is a genuine interest in chess. That's why. The people they're genuinely interested in chess. Same as it was the case in Armenia not long ago.
Yes.
I don't think even Armenia is any longer chess country as it used to be. However, at least in Armenia there is a chess education in schools, and historically speaking, they're very interested in chess. So is Georgia. Perhaps less so than before, but there is interest. Uzbekistan, yes, some Asian countries for sure. Now China is in the rise, just concerned. Yeah.
Well, if they put their mind to it, if it becomes an instrument of propaganda, there's no holding them back, I would think.
Now, there are also some peculiar problems in Russia arising from the war against Ukraine. Is that the Russian people cannot travel as they used to before. A lot of them are changing chess federations. Which are they're absolutely right. So same thing actually happening in tennis. A lot of tennis players change federations so they could play under whatever flag. Let's see, she's now in semifinals in Rome tournament. Yelena Rybakina, she represents Kazakhstan. She was born in Moscow, and even now she lives in Moscow.
Is there a general brain drain, do you think? Is this true in science and other fields?
Of course.
I would think so.
Oh my God! You can't even estimate how many millions of people from Russia left Russia, and the people who leave Russia, only those who are able to do that.
Yes.
So it means that people with education, people who know foreign languages, people who have money to travel. And it's not so easy that you bought ticket to Moscow, Paris, and in 2.5 hours you're in Paris. No, you have to travel to Georgia or Kazakhstan or Yerevan or Istanbul if you're lucky, and only from there you have to apply for a visa, and then you go somewhere else or so on. So the easiest way to avoid all this, and especially if you're a younger chess player, you can be stopped at the border and sent to serve in Russian army in Ukraine, and your chances for survival are not that great. And so it's a question of survival, really. So the brightest, the most able people, they are leaving Russia in droves. So who are staying in Russia? Mostly older people, alcoholics, impotents, and other undesirables. So this is a future of Russian population. So whether this type of people will be very much interested in chess, I doubt it very much.
What a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
After all the brilliance of the chess and the champions that they produce, to have this come to this.
I've not had direct contact from the Russian Chess Federation like I would have every year before the pandemic. So.
I can bet that in 10 years, if you will stop 100 people on the streets of Moscow or any other city, 99 of those, if not all 100, they wouldn't even know who is Alokhin, who is Botvinnik, who is Smyslov, and so on.
This is when Hans Rey used to say he didn't want to challenge the bus driver.
Yeah.
It was a different country, different people, different story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's how true it is, and how quickly it's all changed. You remember, just say 2009, so it's only 14 years ago, I was in Moscow and I was present at the Michael Tal Memorial, which was superbly organized tournament with all the leading players at the time was playing, like Kramnik, Anand, Carlsen, just name it. There
Yes.
were probably 10 all the greatest players of today's chess. They were all playing in the tournament. Superb commentaries by Gena Sasonka, Peter Svidler, and others. And
Isn't the term grandmaster supposed to come from Russia? The tournament there meant, like over a century ago, where they were all the greatest players were assembled, and they
Yes,
called, they
that's
called them the
bizarre.
grandmasters.
Yeah.
Conferred the term grandmaster. Yes, on 5. Yes.
So it was a superb tournament. It was playing right in the center of Moscow.
Oh, the history is
Great facilities or so. And look at what's happened in 14 years.
Yeah.
The chess in Russia is dying. All the leading grandmasters are already out of Russia, including Peter Svidler and
Yes.
many, well, Kramnik a long time ago, moved to Switzerland and so on. So there's no hope. And I think Nepa, if he has any brains, he will stop praise Putin and all the stuff, because he's lucky enough to be on the top of his game prior to the Ukrainian war. So he was able to squeeze Russia Federation and sponsors or so on. He milked them for a lot of money. Don't look at his official prize, whatever he's got, 800,000 euros or so on. He milked Russians. He paid for his preparation, for his coaches, for his travels, for his just anything.
Everything is first class.
These times are gone. All what Nepa can do today is to go to Ukraine and be on the Russian front. Okay, so obviously he's not looking forward to it. So if he has any brains, he would be out of Russia if he's not already.
Right. So, what countries do you think are on the rise? We would say China. After Anand won the championship, India certainly had a
Absolutely
rise.
Yeah.
And we see with an effect in Norway. Chess is in the schools in Norway because Magnus is the world champion.
On their main television channel.
Yes.
Always
So
I
there's
think Spain.
Spain.
Spain. Yes. Yes.
Very popular destination. Yes.
Mhm.
Actually, Anand lives in Spain, if I'm not mistaken.
And Miguel, he's going to move to Spain from Romania.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Galicia. Yeah. And
He knows Spanish very well. Well, he knows many languages, but Spanish is probably his best.
Yes, that's
Outside of Armenian.
and
Oh,
Uruguay, most particularly, I would say,
Mhm.
through local efforts.
Now, in Latin America, chess, I would say, is popular. And I know that in Venezuela is very popular, despite all their economic problems and many others. I think Argentina, historically, they're very interested in chess.
certainly that's been true. Yeah, in the past, there was a passion for holding tournaments and producing good players and all of that. I don't know today what the future holds for those countries, and even in the United States. I think we have this patron in St. Louis that has made all the difference for
Yeah, absolutely.
attracting strong players and giving local players or local but national players a chance to compete with international players of the highest caliber. That's an amazing opportunity. When that was
I remember I was in St. Louis. I was there a few times. And what's impressing me is that they have actually built a portable studio, the television studio, right there. When Yasser, when he comments, and others,
Yeah.
they're all located there. So they have in-house production.
and first class too. I think they've been doing something very, very well.
And actually, I noticed in small details, they're improving. They keep improving year after year. Yes.
Yes. And he's really,
spectacular chess club, and across the street there's a chess hall of
Hall of
fame.
Fame museum. Yes,
It's so impressive. All this.
it's a destination in chess now.
It's a destination. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind to go there and spend the week, even if there is no tournament. Just spend a week and looking at the Chess Hall of Fame and the chess club. And there are many nice restaurants and cafes around. It's a really beautiful area of St. Louis,
and they have a grandmaster in residence. They come
Yes.
in once a month. They have a place that they can stay, and so I remember I was there once. Joel Benjamin was there for a month, and I've known
Mhm.
Joel since he was young.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And so it is a pleasure.
Yeah. I remember a week when Alex Fishbane was
Yes.
grandmaster in residence. Yeah, he's quite knowledgeable, very pleasant.
Yeah.
I think he lives now in I think Atlanta or Augusta, somewhere in Georgia.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I've lost track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, so what's coming up next week? What we should look forward to?
The next super bet stage, Rapid and Blitz.
Rapid and Blitz. Yeah, that will be very interesting tournament too. And actually, this is one where NEPA hopefully will recover from this poor classical chess form.
Has Carlson in it too. So yeah.
Oh, apparently there is a comment that a major chess hall of fame in St. Louis, which we had just discussed, they have a music series too. Yes, I know they have mostly. I think they're featuring some light classical music. They have like classical string ensembles or so on. But not only that, yeah, sometimes they have jazz. Sometimes they have some different forms of music. It's a superb location. Yeah. Yes, superb place. And so let's look forward to next week. This Rapid and Blitz. It will be probably more exciting than
always the rapid play is my favorite.
And all I wish is that Caruana will prove his skills in Blitz and Rapid, because like before it was usually considered that he's great in classical chess, but he's not on the level in Rapid. And I hope it's going to change, and I hope this tournament will prove it.
Thank you.
We'll see.
Okay.
I wish him all the best.
Good guy too. Yeah,
he is a very good guy. Yes, very. Thank you so much, guys, and look forward
see you later, Ken.
to next week.
Yep. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.